He explained, of course, I also want to defeat the demon lord as soon as possible, but our goal and the holy nations are not the same. Midu asked him, are you saying we should attack the demon lord's army alone? Erashur stood up and replied, of course, those people in this kingdom aren't our allies, we'll use them when necessary, I have no reason to listen to them. Midu retorted, if you do that, it will only bring trouble for us, we can't fight on our own, we need help from the holy nation. Erashur asked again, directly fighting the demon lord's army isn't your only plan, is it? There's also guerrilla tactics, you know. The others listened intently. He continued, our goal isn't to defeat the demon lord's army, but the demon lord himself. Midu interrupted, I understand your point, but I still think it's very risky, if we do that, someone might lose their life, even if we win. Erashur frowned fiercely, I said we just need to kill the demon lord, I know it's very dangerous, so whoever's scared, just sit here and wait for the end. Midu shouted, I don't want anyone to die here, that's why I'm telling you this is our best option. Erashur lost his composure, stomped his foot, and rushed forward, saying, stop being so cowardly, then he prepared to throw a punch at Midu, let me open your eyes. He also immediately summoned his holy sword. Then he used the protection barrier mode, creating a defensive layer in front of him. The punch was blocked but still created a large explosion and caused significant damage around. The dust swirled, and the others couldn't react in time. A voice echoed from within the dust, you think you can win against me with just this? Midu continued, we must defeat the demon lord together, we've already had a lot of trouble with just one of the 4 heavenly kings, it's best that we train ourselves and improve our skills during this time. Erashur still raised his fist in challenge, you think you've won? Chains appeared, restraining the 2 of them, along with Rin's voice. Don't move, both were surprised and looked at each other. Rin shouted, both of you calm down, are you planning to destroy this castle, it'll only cause us more trouble. Midu retracted his hand, my bad, Kanzaki. Erashur tried to clench his hand to break free. Then gave a strong tug, severing the chain, troublesome. Rin muttered, I had to spend a lot of energy to create this rule, and yet he can destroy it so easily. Erashur relaxed his hand and said, we should develop our strength from battles, the more challenges we overcome, the faster we grow. Then he asked Midu, I'm sure you understand, right? Mirai stepped forward, I agree with Mido-kun. Rina also spoke up, instead of being destroyed in a hurry, isn't safety better? Heike said, actually, this world isn't so bad. Satoshi turned, I don't want to be killed because of our impatience. Kaori raised her hand gently, I agree with Arashi-kun. Rina wondered, Kaori, why all of a sudden? She replied, I understand Mido-kun's point, but I want to go home as soon as possible. Yumi turned to look at Kaori, but everyone else feels the same way. The little girl tearfully said truthfully, I only have my mother at home and she is very weak. Kaori remembered her mother lying in a hospital bed, I'm so worried about her, I usually stay with her, but now she's alone. Chao also sided with Erashur, I agree, I only live with my younger sister too. He recounted, our parents abandoned us and I have no relatives either. I want to go back as soon as possible to help my sister. Shirori lowered her head, a little sad, my reason isn't as persuasive as yours, but my family is probably worried about me too. I can't let them wait for another 2 years. Hearing those words made the rest of the group also feel down. Midu also saw the expressions of his friends and understood to some extent. Narumi, being overly cheerful, as for me, I have about 3 girlfriends, so I want to go back soon too. Mirai turned, you're special, aren't you, daring to declare that in this situation. Atsushi smiled and said, as for us, of course we'll always be Arashi-san's allies, right? Kenta replied, choosing to follow Arashi-san is the right decision. It was Akira's turn, he seemed hesitant, at least. Then looked at the 2 leaders, compared to Midu who is always indecisive, I think I should trust Erashur, who is decisive. Erashur turned to look, they said that, Midu. He hung his head, speechless, wondering what he should do. Erashur strode forward confidently, there's no need to discuss this anymore. He stepped out the door and waved, now I will act on my own, whoever is willing to die, come with me. Those who supported Erashur earlier immediately followed. The number was quite significant. Kaori also turned to prepare to leave. Rina and Yumi tried to stop and call out to Kaori. The little girl closed her eyes, not knowing what to say, and had to choose to follow her heart. Kaori followed Arashi's group with an apology, I'm sorry, Rina. Those who stayed looked on with sympathetic eyes, the atmosphere became somewhat subdued. Mirai turned and asked Narumi, aren't you going with them? He replied, we also need someone to act as a liaison. Rin was thinking about what to do in this situation, she still had her grandfather, and she also wanted to go home as soon as possible, she was struggling internally, Her feelings were telling her to follow Arashi-kun, but based on the instructions she received from Shinju-kun, it would be better if she stayed here, right? Outside, Kai and Mare returned and stood in front of everyone. There was a shout, "What do you want, you bastard?" The crowd preparing to leave was immediately stirred up when they saw Kai. "Shinju, how dare you come here?" Akira was harsh, "Don't cause a disturbance here, this will attract unwanted attention." Chao looked over to warn as he saw fists appearing. "Arashir, you too." He looked down and said, "We don't have time for you. If you don't have an important reason for appearing here, you'll have to pay the price." Kai was serious. "You're right, I think I should be honest, I want to borrow your power." Hearing him say that, Arashir was a little surprised and asked again, "What?" Before Kai appeared, a rift had formed in the room, his friends split into two groups. Yu and Mayer were outside listening and observing, grasping the situation. She turned and asked, "Your classmates are arguing, are they really okay?" Kai replied, "I don't know, however, their thoughts also sound reasonable. Like Midu said, they can't do this on their own. On the other hand, the holy nation's approach is too passive." Meanwhile, what Arashir said about having to wait 2 years is also correct, but it's definitely more dangerous. Mare asked Kai, "If it were you, what would you do?" He raised his hand and replied, "There are 3 ways to break the current situation. The first is to change the way the leaders of the holy nation think. They must be changed. Once we achieve that goal, they will influence their army, even if they are condemned or exiled by the holy nation. As long as I can return to my world, the other things don't matter. But I don't think Midu will agree with this plan." Mare asked immediately, "What is the second option?" Kai replied, "We will do as Arashir said, use guerrilla tactics instead of fighting them head-on. Based on the information we have gathered and what Isabel said, the demon kingdom is not united. If we can sabotage their rear, we can provoke a civil war." Although I don't think Arashir can do it, Mare has seen his hot temper, so she also agrees, it's really impossible for him. "So what about the third option?" Kai smiled, "We act based on the information we have. In the forest, he once told Mare, we will gather more information. He continued, if everything goes well, we can get help from other parties, eventually it will force the kingdom's army to act." Amidst the large fire in the darkness, Kai and Arashi's group are sitting around the fire for warmth. Arashir frowned and wondered, what the hell is the Cat People Princess? Kai replied, she is the daughter of the Cat People leader. It seems she has been captured by the Demon Lord's army. She is one of the most important people of the Beast Men, that's for sure. He added, that's the information I got after torturing a lot of demons, so this information may be correct. The girls, when they heard the 2 words torture, immediately became a little scared, thinking to themselves, he's really scary. Akira wondered, who is he really? I don't understand why he has a handgun, and Ineo noticed Mayor, that girl is so cute, who is she? Arashir took a bite of meat and asked, that's why I asked what the princess is all about. What do we have to do with the beast men? They are animals with ears or tails, right? Kento was excited, I really want to see it myself, it must be cute. Arashir, sitting in the middle, annoyed, yelled, shut up, you guys. Kai continued, now let's talk about our plan. First, you know there is a Beastmen nation in the Southern Territory, right? Akira asked, the Grandana's Beastmen Federation, right? Kai replied, that's right, a neutral nation that doesn't take any stance on the conflict between humans and demons. Arashir looked doubtful, are you telling us to seek their help? They are just a group of people who are afraid of demons. Mare interrupted, their soldiers are stronger than you think. She added, their physical abilities and senses are honed to the extreme, they have prevented invasions by the Demon Lord's army many times. He turned and wondered, then why are they so passive in this situation? They just need to invade the demon kingdom and destroy it. Mare smiled, they are really strong, but not to the point where they can destroy the Demon Lord's army. Besides, from the beginning, the Demon Lord's army only focused on humans. Kai, at this moment, revealed the key point, but if the Holy Nation and the Beastmen join forces, that is entirely possible. Akira spoke up, I understand, so that's why we need the princess. Kaori asked, we just need to rescue the princess and use her as a bargaining chip against the Beastmen alliance, right? Kai replied, basically yes, I already have information about their supply routes, I want you guys to be the bait. His eyes were extremely serious, just devastate that place with your explosion, meanwhile, I will hide myself. Akira interrupted, I understand, but I still have a question, why doesn't the Holy Nation try to tie up cooperation with the Federation? Kai exclaimed, good question, Ninomiya, they do it for a reason. Mare replied, the Federation also hates demons because of their invasions. From the beginning, demons have always despised other races. But humans have always called beastmen inferior humans and oppressed them, so the Beastmen have turned their country into the Grandana's Beastmen Federation. Of course they hate humans very much. Kaori worried, so asking them for cooperation will be very difficult, right? Amidst the flames, that's why we need a bargaining chip against them. Kai added, the Cat People Princess has been captured by the Demon Lord's army, the situation is very favorable for us. Mare smiled, Beastmen are known for keeping their promises, once we save her, we can negotiate with them. After the plan was put forward, everyone was silent for a moment to think. Kai asked everyone, it's worth a try, isn't it? I'm sure you guys don't have any plans right now. Arashur stood up and walked forward, suddenly appearing in front of us and making such a request. He always acts as if he knows everything. Chao's voice rang out, calling Arashi's name, causing him to stop. He reminded him, don't forget that at this moment, your decision will affect everyone's lives. Arashur was still struggling, clenching his teeth because he was still uncomfortable with Kai. Everyone in the group was still sitting there waiting for his decision. Arashur sat there, his face not very happy, struggling between public and private. Finally, he made a decision, alright, we'll do as he says. The sun rose, and Kai, along with Arashi's group, began to move. Kaori spoke, we've been heading south for a while now, is it really okay? Kai replied, that's right, the Grandana's League of the Beastmen is located in the south, and as for the demons, they are transporting prisoners north. Our destination is the path between the southern forest of the Demon Kingdom. Both countries don't have any trade treaties, as there are only a few roads there, so we'll know exactly where they're going. Akira added, so, we're invading the Demon Kingdom, right? What if we get discovered before the raid? Kai looked over a bit. Then answered reassuringly, don't worry, I've gathered information about roads suitable for our number. Although the road ahead might be bumpy and full of monsters, Akira wondered, can our carriage make it through? Kai added, that's also very important, if we encounter danger, we can rely on Sorero's abilities, right? Tomoko replied enthusiastically, of course, her guardian spirit is multidimensional space, allowing her to create multidimensional space to store equipment and items. The amount of space depends on her mastery, and it requires a certain amount of mana to maintain the space. She turned to Kai and asked, it's been a while, and you still remember my guardian spirit? He replied, because your ability is very special, it's quite beneficial in this situation. Tomoko seemed happy, it's nice to be complimented like that. Chao turned to Kai Shinju and asked, have you been infiltrating and hiding in the Demon Kingdom since the incident happened? He replied, not exactly, I've always been looking for clues to help us go home. Shirori immediately asked, so, what's the result? Kai's answer was, we only have one choice, to defeat the Demon Lord, therefore, I have gathered all the necessary information to take down the Demon Lord. Akira wondered, the result of your reconnaissance is that the Beastmen Princess has been kidnapped, that's so like Shinju. Arashur showed impatience, by the way, is it okay for us to just walk like this? We should have planned to raid them instead. Kai agreed, you're right, we need to speed up, let Sorero store the luggage and carriages. The friend was very excited. That night, the group switched to walking on a trail through the forest. Arashur immediately recognized it and shouted to everyone, monsters are here, everyone, get ready. At this moment, they were surrounded by extremely ferocious night wolves. Behind Shirori, a wolf with sharp fangs rushed forward. Chao immediately stood up to defend and protect her. The wolf bit his arm, but instead, it lost its teeth. Chao smiled, sorry, but your attack can't get past my steel. Then he gave it a punch, lifting it off the ground. Akari reminded everyone, we are surrounded, the support members focus at the center of the formation, the vanguard will push them back. Then he used a support command to buff his teammates. Those with combat abilities immediately obeyed and stepped out of the circle. Being enhanced, they quickly defeated the wolves. Kaori's control ability immediately launched vines and shouted, stop. The wolf's legs were tied, and it couldn't attack. Then it lost its balance and fell to the ground. Ineo rushed in and gave it a sword, taking down the wolf. On this side, another wolf was jumping towards Arashur. He gently raised his hand and grabbed its neck. Then scolded, you scum, you are nothing in front of me. Then he gave it an explosion that blasted its body. The wolf was burned black. Arashur threw it to one side. He turned and asked everyone, is anyone hurt? Kai observed and thought, everyone did very well, I don't need to worry about them. It's great that Arashur has realized his leadership abilities. He continued to remind everyone, if anyone is injured, ask Hano for healing. But unfortunately, Kai realized something was coming and called Mayor. A lone, sharp-toothed wolf remained. It appeared behind Arashur at close range, startling him. What, there's still one. Mayor yelled, fire salamander. A large flame swept through, burning the wolf to ashes. In an instant, the wolf was neutralized. Atsushi marveled, that firepower is amazing. Kenta exclaimed, look, it's roasted crispy, isn't she much stronger than Nagase? Arashur clicked his tongue, it really wasn't necessary, Shinju's girlfriend. Hearing that made Mare startled and blush. She reacted strongly, pointing at Kai, who's this guy's girlfriend. He remained calm, be a little grateful, she just took a hit for you. Arashur glanced over with suspicion. Mare looked at Kai intently, waiting, at least say something. He walked away, saying, I don't care about these trivial things. The girl retorted, is this trivial? Atsushi showed jealousy, this is annoying, Shinju has such a cute girlfriend. Kenta admired, I also want to find a beautiful girlfriend here and bring her back to my world. After the battle, the girls approached to get acquainted. Kaori waved and called out, hey, your name is Mare, right? Do you want to talk to us? Are you a fairy? Mare looked at Kai for help, but he acted indifferent. Why are you looking at me? Do whatever you want. Just waiting for that, she smiled brightly and replied, okay. And so, the four girls chatted happily, and Kai was relieved to see Mare could fit in with everyone. Some time later, at a nearby cliff, it was still not dawn. After standing there to observe the surroundings, Kai found this place seemed okay. Arashur sat there and asked, are you sure they'll come through here? I don't want to wait for days. Kai used his appraisal eye to look down, and he saw small shadows moving closer from afar. Seeing the demon soldiers below, Kai turned to Arashur and said, don't worry, I see them now. Kai used the power of God's guard to assess, observing the entire demon army, and realized there were 3 low-level demons, 15 mid-level demons, and certainly a few more in those carriages. Among them was a single level 36 demon, his name was Zaganda, age 57, a high-level demon race. His stats were all at A and B levels, skill level 4 of theological arts, level 2 of fire magic, and level 2 of demon subjugation magic. Arashur asked, a high-level demon is their leader, right? Kai replied, perhaps so, don't underestimate him, although not as strong as Stonageria, a high-level demon is still very formidable. Hearing that, he frowned, his face full of determination, leave it to me, if you get in my way, I'll kill you. Kai glanced over and said, I intended to leave him to you from the start. Our strategy is very simple. First, Arashur will distract them with the burst skill. Once their formation breaks, we will surround them, the others will move as a team of 3. Kai continued to command, Ineo and Yanagi, you two must protect Hano. The two immediately received the order. Next, Ozaki, your mission is to detect and escort the injured. Chao crossed his arms and replied, leave it to me. Mayor, you will support everyone from the rear. Arashur, your mission is to face the high-level demon, don't be distracted by other opponents. While you're fighting, I'll sneak in and rescue the princess. After I save her, I'll signal you. Finally, Kai instructed, the others, act according to the situation. If you are at a disadvantage, you can retreat. Arashur seemed quite confident, don't worry, once I blow off their leader's head, the rest will run away in terror. Kai looked over and replied, alright, I'll let you command the battle. Someone in the crowd spoke up, from the beginning, you should know that we're here because you need our help. Kenta shouted in agreement, that's right, why are you acting so high and mighty? Atsushi pointed angrily, don't you dare give orders to Arashi-san. From behind, Arashur shouted in fury, shut up, you fools. Then, he gave the two of them a headbutt. He stepped forward and then ordered everyone, hurry up and get ready, we will follow his plan. Regarding the demon army, the high-level demon Zaganda was looking around, observing the surroundings. A demon in the group complained, I'm so tired, boss, we've been walking for a while now, since we left the beastman's territory. He turned around and shouted, we're almost there, don't let your guard down. Then he thought to himself, I had anticipated this, it's really tiring. Zaganda squeezed his eyes shut, his back was hurting from sitting on the horse for so long, but he couldn't let those soldiers see him like this. An idea came to his mind, right, how about I go check on the prisoner's condition? Then he turned and said to the demon soldiers, I'm going to see what that girl is doing, guard carefully, don't let your guard down. The demon soldiers outside said yes, but inside they thought, this old man wants to sneak off to rest, doesn't he? Inside one of the carriages, an animal girl was tied up and locked up there. She is the princess of the Shina Beast Alliance. Zaganda went in and sat right at the door, his face a little tired, said, finally we've come here. Then stroked his chin, looking at her and said, Princess, how do you feel? We are about to arrive at the city where you are imprisoned, we have sneaked into the territory of the demon kingdom, the soldiers from your federation won't get far here. She immediately complained, what a shaking carriage, it's terrible, he was stunned when he heard it, this answer is so new. Then Ganda cleared his throat, ahem, but don't worry, if the federation obediently obeys our orders, you will be released at any time. Sheena shook her head. It's useless. Once you've captured me, the Federation won't bow down and submit. He smiled. It seems you still don't understand your position. You are the daughter of the beast leader. She still showed toughness and scolded him. If you think kidnapping me can convince them, then you are a fool. Zaganda's eyes widened with anger, frowned and looked at her. Watch your mouth, bitch. Then he reached out and grabbed the princess's neckline. Then he pulled it hard in front of Sheena's astonishment, revealing the skin. He saw the perverted long tongue coming out and said, "Let me taste your flavor a little bit, I'll let you know where your position is." The princess's eyes didn't change, looking at him without blinking. Zaganda reached out to prepare to do depraved things. Suddenly from the outside a large explosion occurred, lighting up the night sky. He was startled and stopped what he was doing, pulled the curtain and stuck his head out and asked, "What's going on?" The demon soldier announced, "We are under attack, it's humans." Zaganda worried, "Humans, you say humans, if you said beasts then I would believe you." There were consecutive explosions with enormous destructive power, tossing the demon soldiers into the sky. He jumped on the horse, holding the reins tightly. Then spurred the horse, pointing his finger, "Counterattack, don't be afraid of the humans." So the two sides rushed into battle. The rest of the candidates for the official hero squad joined the battle. Atsushi and Kenta continuously attacked and took down a lot of demon soldiers. On this side Chao and the others also supported each other and did exactly as the original plan had laid out. Zaganda looked at the battlefield, worried that he was losing, even though his army was considered the most elite unit. Erasure turned his shoulders and stepped in front of him and asked, "You are a high-ranking demon, right?" Zaganda summoned a weapon in his hand and asked back, "Who the hell are you?" Erasure clenched his hands, smiled at him, "I don't need to tell my name to trash like you, I'll tell you if you put on a show for me." Being insulted as a high-ranking demon made him angry. Zaganda roared and attacked, "Shut up, people like you are nothing to me." Then he launched a powerful attack towards Erasure. He jumped up, threw a punch towards Zaganda. He used the spear in his hand to block it. Then he shouted loudly, "You think you can beat me, a high-ranking demon with this kind of firepower?" Arashi's face was a little worried. He stabbed the spear towards him. Immediately he had to jump up to dodge. Then jumped backwards, keeping a safe distance. Erasure frowned and thought to himself, "He's too strong, but still not as strong as that guy." Then clenched his fists. "I just need to add a little more energy to my firepower, that way I can deal with some injuries. My explosion needs a lot of energy to activate. With my current ability, I can only fire 7 more shots." Erasure slightly collapsed and placed his hand on the ground to set up. "When I run out of energy, my physical ability will decrease. If that happens, I won't be able to keep up with the enemy. I just need to create a gap and aim for this guy's head or heart, then I'll have to use my maximum power." Zaganda on the side is also thinking these warriors are humans. Moreover, they have the ability of divine guards. I have never seen these faces, but they are surprisingly strong. Could they be the legendary hero candidates? He spun the spear in his hand. If they are the ones who defeated Wimberg in Stonage area, then I have to be more careful. Then he spurred the horse and wondered, I don't know how they could have discovered our exact location. He suspects they are trying to rescue the Beast Tribe's princess. Fortunately, I have assigned soldiers to guard the princess. They can hold out for a while. The army here is focusing on defense. Zaganda's eyes showed determination. If that's the case, I need to make a decisive move. I need to defeat the one who is the leader of them. After some thought, he decided to charge and aim at Erasure, who was standing there. He thrust his spear down and smiled. I will decide this battle with just one move, lightning force. A surprise attack, but fortunately, Erasure managed to dodge it in time. Seeing his clothes being destroyed, he was a bit surprised. He flipped to the left to dodge the attack. He was also a bit confused because his speed was too fast. Arashi's eyes focused on the high-ranking demon in front of him. He was urging his horse forward, and he was standing in the right place. He smiled right in his minefield area. Erasure used the God of Mine explosion skill to create an explosion with great destructive power, causing him to exclaim in panic, "What is this?" The explosion made the horse jump in fright. Zaganda was scorched by the fire, looking extremely disheveled, thinking, is this a trap skill? He was a bit worried and cursed, damn, my vision is blocked. As Erasure charged forward, he thought, Mine explosion is just a trap skill, it lacks firepower compared to an explosion, but I finally created an opening in his defense. He can't identify my position with this dust. He appeared behind him with his hand glowing red, preparing to punch down. Now I just need to ambush him with an explosion. But before he could launch his attack, Zaganda's eyes flashed. Looking over, there you are. Then a large gust of wind force, erupted from his body. Erasure frowned and clicked his tongue. TSK, can't dodge at all. The push just now made him fall backward to the ground. On this side, his teammates saw it and worriedly called out Arashi's name. He got up, holding his stomach. It hurts, everyone focus on the situation, don't worry about me. Zaganda raised his voice, you can't even use energy to protect yourself anymore. However, he was still a little worried, unable to believe this guy could defend like that. His instincts were as sharp as an animal's. He remembered how Erasure set traps, but I discovered his fighting style. He can set explosive traps by placing his hand in that spot. Moreover, it can blow up anything it touches. Zaganda stepped forward confidently, as long as I firmly grasp this spear, I can win this battle and maintain a distance, just focus, and I can dodge his traps. Erasure looked at him with determination, thinking in his head, I guess that's what you're thinking, right? Zaganda reached out and continued to use the wind force, launching thin but sharp gusts of wind, forcing Erasure to focus on dodging. He smiled, this distance is perfect, from this distance, he won't be able to touch me. The spearhead continuously stabbed towards Erasure. He then asked him, so you've discovered my fighting style. Zaganda smiled, obviously, you're always changing your position. Erasure then raised his hand, preparing to attack. That's right, the one who's losing their defense is you. He used the cannon skill to shoot a bolt of fire directly at Zaganda. His eyes widened, light flashed, and Erasure added more energy to the shot with absolute power. A large explosion occurred. The destructive power was terrifying. Right there, it left a large hole, proving that Arashi's attack carried immense energy. Zaganda lay there motionless, mouth agape, and blood flowing out. Then Erasure tossed his clothes and stood there, looking cool. Information appeared, name, Erasure Shunsuke, age 17, gender, male, attack, B, defense, B, agility, B, strength, A, magic, C, status, normal, skills, god of explosion LV, 3, god of mine explosion LV, 2, god of cannon LV, 2, physical strength LV, 4. The people on this side were amazed and exclaimed, wow, he single-handedly defeated a high-ranking demon. The demon soldiers were terrified, Lord Zaganda is dead, we lost. Akira, while launching his attack, shouted to encourage everyone, Erasure has defeated a high-ranking demon, their defenses are being broken, let's maintain this pace, and then use the weapon buffs to increase the damage. Everyone received weapon buffs to increase damage, and immediately rushed forward to launch a full-scale attack. A moment later, the demon soldiers without a leader immediately scattered and were easily defeated. Kai stood there with 2 daggers in his hands and walked forward. Standing in front of a carriage, he looked at it and wondered, this must be the one. Then he walked over and gently pulled the curtain to the side. Before him was Sheena, with her chest area of the clothes torn by Zaganda. The princess spoke, asking, did you come here to help me, human? Kai looked at her and said, I was wondering if that was the case. He took out a dagger from his chest and walked towards her. Then cut the ropes binding Sheena, the ropes fell. She raised her hand to wipe her face and turned to Kai, asking, what are you after? He replied coldly, something even the demons want, I've decided to use you to achieve my goals. Sheena rubbed her wrists, calmly looking at him, how honest, she said. Kai replied nonchalantly, there's no reason to lie, is there, or would you prefer to hear that we're here to save you with no ill intentions? Sheena dropped her hands, sensing life force, I can't, but if that's the case, you'd think it's reasonable for me to fight you, right? Immediately, that hand, turning into a demigod beast, was covered in a thick layer of fur along with sharp claws. And then Sheena's eyes became as cold as a predator about to pounce on a chicken. A moment later, a plume of white smoke escaped from a drain. He reacted quickly, jumping back. Sheena furiously bared her fangs and raised her claws to attack. The sharp claws slashed out in a flurry of swipes, but he reacted in time to dodge. Kai, holding his weapon, had to admit she was fast. Then the two started fighting fiercely, so this is the power of a beastman, and Kai easily blocked all of Sheena's continuous claw attacks. After fighting for a while, he was exhausted and shouted, Thunderstrike. As soon as he finished, in less than a second, lightning bolt struck Sheena. Sheena's eyes widened in amazement. What? Sheena clenched her lips, recognizing the magic with resentment. Kai casually stepped aside to dodge. Sheena fell headfirst into the ground, painfully. While his opponent was still disoriented, Kai pinned her under him. He thought to himself, a basic lightning spell, not very powerful, but really convenient for incapacitating my enemy. It would be great if it increased the chances of winning in a close combat fight. Sheena gritted her teeth and glared at him with anger. TSK, why are humans so strong? Kai narrowed his eyes and said, you've finally realized the difference in our strength, haven't you? You have two choices, either restrain yourself and follow me, or obey me. Knowing she wasn't a match for Kai, Sheena accepted her fate. Alright then, after all, it's better to go with humans than with demons. Arashi's group seemed to be winning, the pile of monsters lay scattered on the ground, and only one remained. It roared ferociously, but with a hint of fear. The monster was sweating bullets, finding it hard to believe who was in front of them. There's no way I can win, it thought, they are monsters, after all. Arashir called Shinami in a cold voice, and Kaori immediately understood and drew a magic circle. Alright, alright. The vines on the trees suddenly glowed and grew longer very quickly. They followed Kai's instructions to wrap around the monster's legs to prepare for an attack. It only took one pull, and the monster fell flat on its back, letting out a series of unintelligible cries. Arashir slowly approached, making it terrified. He grabbed its chin and lifted it up for easy talking. Arashir squeezed its chin hard and said to the demon. He growled, "We have no grudge against him, we'll chop off his head." Not long after, everyone gathered in a circle around a small bonfire. Atsushi, holding a piece of meat in his hand, said enthusiastically, their carriage had so much food. Kenta took a delicious bite and happily joined in. Today we're having a grand feast. Kaori, on the other hand, had tears in her eyes with a guilty conscience. It feels like we're robbing someone. Her friend next to her chuckled gleefully. Aha, aren't we? At this time, Sheena hesitated, sitting there just watching without daring to move. Kai asked, puzzled, what's wrong, why aren't you eating? Although Sheena was drooling with hunger, she tried to restrain her hunger. Is it okay for you to feed me like this? Arashir tore off a piece of meat with satisfaction and said, it's been a long time since I've had a full meal in that place, and these things are nothing compared to the food in our world. Kai took a sip of soup and glanced at Sheena. We still need something from you, so if you die, we'll be in trouble, so eat. Hearing that, Sheena didn't hesitate anymore and picked up the bowl, gulping it down, and also said, thank you. After just swallowing a mouthful of soup, her face looked like she was enjoying paradise, so delicious. Seeing this cute reaction made her friend proud. Delicious, isn't it? Hano cooks everything well. Being praised unexpectedly made Hano a little embarrassed. I'm glad you liked it. Mare suddenly asked, is your name Sheena? How did the demons kidnap you? Sheena was silent and didn't answer. After a while of watching the flickering bonfire, Sheena started to recount the whole event. I accidentally encountered the demon lord's army while hunting in the forest. Sheena recalled the scene of her encounter with the monsters. I was going deep inside the Federation territory. Usually, demons wouldn't be there. Sheena hesitated, meaning they already knew where she was. Kai calmly speculated that they might have planned to invade the Federation. Kidnapping her was also one of their goals. Kaori wondered why the demons wanted to control the beastkin. Her friend next to her answered, because they invaded the Holy Kingdom, maybe they wanted to rule the world, right? Sheena quickly agreed, that's what the demons were planning, but what do you humans want from me? Kai frankly expressed, I need you to become our bargaining chip. We want to cooperate with the Federation to destroy the Demon Lord. Sheena asked in confusion, destroy the Demon Lord, are you serious? Arashir suddenly spoke up, we have our reasons. He explained while eating meat, we can't return to the real world before defeating the Demon Lord. Finally, Sheena understood the problem. I see, so you guys are the hero candidates. I heard that humans summoned you to be trump cards. Kai suddenly asked, so what do you think? If you sincerely help us, it will help us a lot. Sheena nodded to show her sincerity. I understand, I owe you for saving me. Kai nonchalantly splashed cold water, but we didn't intend to rescue you. Sheena was a little surprised but didn't mind because they were her benefactors. Anyway, in the end, they saved her and also gave her warm food. Sheena clearly expressed her opinion. Moreover, to purge the demons inside the Federation, I need support from a third party. This is just my intuition. I think there's a spy in the high-ranking members of the Federation. The next morning, everyone quickly climbed down the mountain and went out of the forest. The rescued cat beastkin Princess Sheena had escaped from the territory of the Demon Kingdom with Shinju. They went back to their path and returned to the city of Nutrat. The group approached the city gate. In a room, there were gentle noises. Sharp sword lines slashed through the air. Midu was diligently practicing his sword alone. Suddenly, the voice calling Shuji made him stop his movements and look toward the sound. Seeing the person in front of him hurrying over, Midu wondered, Rina, what's going on? Rina announced loudly, Arashi's group is back, and they're bravely walking through the main gate. Midu was startled and widened his eyes. What? At the city gate, Arashi's group had rushed inside the city gate, but they were stopped by the soldiers in front. A soldier shouted loudly, deserters, how dare you come here with such a calm face, you are violating the army's rules. Then that shout successfully made Arashir go mad and roar, I don't care if the rules can protect us, you bastards. The general who was cursed was still standing there, wondering, bastards, huh. Erasure impatiently turned away. I have nothing to do with people like you, where's Amelia? The general ignored him. As he spoke, he issued instructions for the soldiers to charge simultaneously. You think she'll agree to meet a bastard like you? Restrain them, put these deserters in jail. At this moment, the situation was increasingly out of control. Erasure scratched his head in discomfort. This is really a headache. Even if you guys gather in a group, you won't be able to beat me. Gao, standing next to him, explained blandly. They are like that because of your attitude. If we are Midu's group, even if his group is considered deserters, they can still be warmly welcomed. Suddenly, chains appeared and tightly bound all the soldiers, along with a cold voice, don't move. Rin stepped out and asked, you're back early, aren't you? Seeing this strange action of hers, the general roared, Kanzaki Rin, are you betraying us? Quickly release this skill's seal. Narumi put her hand on the soldier's shoulder and winked lovingly, hey, calm down, Arashi's group doesn't intend to fight, let's talk to them first. A second later, the chain seal was removed. The general had to concede too, if Narumi said so. Erasure looked at this scene and started getting angry again, his eyes as if wanting to devour the opponent. Why listen to him and not me? Akira smiled and said that it's usually like that. Narumi calmed down and approached him, then asked, so now what, did you come back with any important information? Erasure was still resentful and then requested, talk about that later, for now, please take us to a place to talk properly. Not long after, in a grand room, everyone was sitting properly on chairs, only Erasure was putting his legs up on the table. He still kept his stubborn and difficult attitude. Heinrich and Amelia helplessly shook their heads in frustration. The generals were scared but didn't dare to speak. This strange action of his made Mireille couldn't stand it anymore. She had to speak up. Come on Erasure, you're making the atmosphere too tense. Erasure, with his fiery temper, retorted, what, do you mean this is the culture of a different world? You're always like that. Mireille raised her voice and questioned, you don't necessarily have to make everything so tense, right? Moreover, we have also gathered the people you want to talk to. Although he was annoyed, he still had to put his legs down, all right. Erasure regained his composure and called out, Chinami, come in. Right after that, Kaori led Sheena by the hand, pushing the door and entering with an apology. And Sheena's appearance made Heinrich look stunned. Amelia exclaimed in surprise, a cat beastkin. Akira announced clearly, her name is Sheena. She is the daughter of the Beastkin Federation leader Gandanas. Everyone there was also stunned when they heard this news, the daughter of the Federation leader, why is she here with you guys? Sheena admitted without hesitation, yes, I am the biological daughter of the chieftain of the Beastmen Federation, they rescued me from the demons. Midu, unable to believe it, asked, were you captured by demons? Sheena glanced at him and truthfully replied, yes, demons are hiding in the Federation's territory, I was rescued when they were taking me to the Demon Kingdom. Erasure chimed in, we can use her as a bargaining chip to get cooperation from the Federation, we can't wait another 2 years, after all. Amelia seemed to have a breakthrough, I understand the situation. Amelia seriously put forward a solution, we are also considering forming an alliance with the Federation, let me report this to my superiors, now that we have the princess, they will certainly not miss this opportunity. Erasure frowned and said bluntly, you're being honest. Amelia, without concealing her purpose, replied frankly, after all, we don't want half of the hero candidates to leave us, we are actually planning to accept some of your requests if you return to us. Heinrich calmly added a few words, you are the trump card of the army, of course, that will also affect the morale of the soldiers, I am responsible for your actions, thanks to this, I can avoid the possibility of being fired. Hearing this, Amelia's voice became serious, I understand your request. Alright, Amelia looked up resolutely, her voice even more serious, if we can cooperate with the Federation, we can continue the campaign to defeat the Demon Kingdom, this is what you all want, isn't it? At this moment, Arashi's mood relaxed a bit, now you understand me. Amelia seriously looked at the opposite side and said, anyway, it's not a disadvantageous deal for us, killing the Demon Lord is also the wish of the people, of course, we will do everything to make that happen. Sheena was also determined to repay the favor, I was saved and fed by them, in return for the help, I want you to help me destroy the demons in the Federation. Midu immediately responded with enthusiasm, of course, I will do my best. Heinrich suddenly interjected in a low voice, may I ask something, how did you get the information that the princess was kidnapped? Receiving the question, Erasure looked away and replied, about that, we interrogated the demons we captured. Heinrich watched him intently and replied, I see. A week later, everyone was anxiously waiting. Heinrich holding a piece of paper in his hand, entered the room with Amelia to announce news. The Holy Nation was sending envoys to the Federation to negotiate their alliance. The stifling atmosphere was thus broken, and everyone cheered happily. In a small house near the city walls, Kai asked directly, "Who is going?" Akira, sitting opposite him, truthfully replied, "Midu, Nagase, Kanzaki, and Narumi. There are 4 people." With the information in hand, Kai took a sip of tea. "I also guessed they would choose Kanzaki because of her leadership abilities." Akira immediately agreed with this speculation, because Midu and Narumi have a keen eye for people. Nagase is a bit strict, but he has his own way of speaking. In another room, Heinrich was working tirelessly, and he himself didn't know Akira was referring to him. The leader of the envoys was probably Heinrich. Of course some soldiers and a few people from the management apparatus would also come, a total of 30 people. Mayer stood silently in a corner, listening to them exchange information. Kai suddenly asked, "How's Erasure?" Erasure was enjoying the warm sun on the roof. Akira also replied without hesitation, "He wants to stay at the front lines, because he's not very good at negotiating." "That's right." At the training ground, Mireille was instructing Atsushi and Kenta something, and she didn't know Akira was referring to her. While Midu was leaving, Hashimoto would take on the role of substitute captain. Akira boldly speculated, "It will probably be difficult because they need to constantly control Erasure and his friends." Then Akira asked Kai somewhat abruptly, "So what's your plan? Please be frank, without any concealment." "I'm going to the Federation, even though I don't intend to follow the envoy's delegation." Outside the city walls, Heinrich turned around and ordered everyone, "Let's go." The army, along with the hero candidates, was moving towards the Federation. Rina kept stroking her hair on the way, saying she was tired. Midu smiled and turned back to say to her, "We'll be traveling for a while." Narumi, enthusiastically followed up, "How surprising, I didn't think Rina would join us." She turned and asked angrily, "What, you mean I can't go with you?" He quickly waved his hands, "That's not what I meant, I'm very happy that you're here." Rina pointed at Midu and said, "If I let you guys be alone, you'll act recklessly again, especially this idiot." He looked dumbfounded and asked, "Me?" Seeing them having enough fun, Narumi laughed loudly. Rina was a little unhappy. "I mean, if you're his companion, you're not reliable at all. Even if you go together, nothing will change." Narumi cried, "Hey Rina, why are you so mean to me?" Rin in the back seemed quite somber. Rin thought, "They're really noisy, wouldn't it be better to be quiet for a while?" She wondered. Shinju said he was also on his way to the Federation. Could he be nearby? Heinrich glanced and saw Rin's expression. The group was still silently moving through vast fields and grasslands. Secretly observing them from the bushes, Kai said to Mayer, "All right, let's go." The two walked. Mayer asked, "Are we just following them?" He replied, "Following them seems easier. Sheena is there too. By the way, can I ask you something?" Returning to the group, they were moving through the forests. Rin was still silent, looking around, and was quite enjoying the fresh air of the trip. Heinrich saw this and immediately asked, "Why are you always looking around, Kazaki?" She jumped, a little flustered, and replied, "I'm just being vigilant against the monsters." Narumi winked, "No need for that, after all, Shuji and Heinrich are here." Rin slightly bowed her head and replied, "You're right." Heinrich turned to Midu, "I ask you, this, it only took a few days for Erasure to return to us, right?" He nodded, "Yes, that's right." Heinrich wondered, "I'm wondering how they got information about Sheena's kidnapping." Rin chimed in, "Didn't he say he captured some demons and interrogated them?" However, he was still not satisfied with that. "I just think it's a bit fast. They got the information, processed it, and came back. It's a bit hard to believe that he did everything. Usually, Erasure discusses such matters with us beforehand." Midu turned and asked back, "What exactly do you mean?" Heinrich's voice echoed through the forest, "I'm just speculating." He continued, "Someone is moving in the shadows and gathering information on their own. As always, you're terrible at lying, Midu. Your expression has told me everything." Sure enough, his face changed slightly when Heinrich mentioned that. Narumi thought to herself, "This is bad. Shinju has really helped us a lot in the shadows, but to the Holy Nation, he's still a criminal." Even Rin was a little worried. "If Heinrich finds out about our cooperation with him, I don't know what kind of punishment we'll have to receive." Just then, Rina moved up and asked, "What nonsense are you talking about?" Heinrich quickly raised his hand and replied, "It seems some people know and some people still don't know anything, huh? Your circle of relationships in this world is still very small because you are foreigners. Furthermore, you will need people like us to have relationships. There is only one answer. Shinju Kai is your shadow, the one who killed the saint." Midu frowned slightly, a little worried, and asked, "And if so, then what?" Suddenly, Heinrich laughed loudly, "Just as I expected, I was just joking." Narumi said, your reasoning is good, but even if we have contact with each other, he still helps, even if we don't agree. Heinrich smiled, don't worry, I won't punish you. I'm just curious, really, I think I should thank him for killing that woman. Hearing these words, the soldiers were a little surprised. Narumi reacted, you can say that, too. He waved his hand dismissively, of course not, if they find out, I'll be hanged. He added, furthermore, based on Kanzaki's behavior in the past few hours, I guess he's nearby and watching us very closely, right? Hearing that, Midu quickly turned around and asked, really, Kanzaki-san? The unexpected question made her flustered, wondering what to do. Rin worried, am I dragging Shinju down? I'm the messenger for him. Kai's voice echoed, and he stepped out, since you've discovered it, I have nothing to hide anymore. The soldiers saw him and exclaimed, it's the one who killed the saint. Sheena spoke up, he's the one who saved me. Heinrich turned his horse around, and the soldiers pointed their spears at Kai. He said, I'm just basing this on my conclusions. Kai looked at him and replied, you're drawing your own conclusions with only a little information, huh? Heinrich continued and asked, not as good as you, but we also have some information networks. You killed Wimberg, one of the 4 heavenly kings, the Dark Death God, that's you, isn't it? Kai replied, I've never heard that nickname, and I didn't kill him alone. He looked at Mayer, an elf who knew magic, looks like you have a strong companion, huh? In the crowd, a female voice called Kai's name, attracting Mayer's attention. Rina urged her horse forward and shouted, after everything that's happened, how dare you show your face? Midu hastily tried to stop her, calm down, Rina, but she brushed his hand away and continued, I can't calm down. Rina pointed at Kai and continued harshly, because you're kind, you forgave him, Shuji, but he's a traitor. She asked, do you have anything else to say? Kai remained calm, I have no intention of denying it. Narumi winked and smiled, calm down, Rina, Shinju has always helped us. Rina furiously yelled, shut up, I will end this here, God, please bless the fire in my hand. A fireball appeared in her hand. Mayer marveled, that's some serious firepower, I don't know if we can withstand that. Kai glanced at Mayer and called her name as a signal. Kanzaki raised her hand to execute and stop it, then the call of Kai came. You told her not to do anything, a huge fire was heading towards you, a horrifying explosion occurred. Narumi worriedly said, hey, are you going to turn him into dust? Rina replied, what, if he dies just like this, I'll be really disappointed. That's right, Kai's voice and his arm appeared. Then he grabbed Rina's shirt and pulled her down, making her exclaim in surprise, what? By the time she realized it, Rina had fallen to the ground. She quickly jumped back to keep her distance. Then continued to summon a fireball to burn him to death. Kai replied, thunder, pierce my enemies. Immediately, lightning struck Rina, making her numb and scream in pain. In a flash, Rina fainted. Kai stopped, while Rina lay there motionless. She opened her eyes, her voice weak, what's going on, even though you don't have that much power? Kai looked at the lightning in his hand and replied, that's right, I don't have a talent for magical power, but even without that talent, as long as I keep practicing, it can still be used. Then he looked at Rina sarcastically, and you, look at you being corrupted by the power you call divine, are you sure you're practicing properly? Narumi came over and exclaimed, wow, you neutralized Rina right away, amazing, Shinju-kun. Midu thought to himself, he's not only fast, but he also makes his opponents lose their guard, he has also gained some new powers compared to me, now he. Rina stood up, still stubborn, I still won't accept you. Kai appeared calm, I didn't need your approval from the beginning, and another thing, no matter how many times we fight, the result will be the same. Seemingly unwilling to accept it, Rina shouted, shut up. Rin's voice rang out, that's enough, Nagase-san, calm down, then magical chains appeared and restrained Rina. That evening, everyone sat around the campfire. Heinrich, after hearing the account of what happened, said, I understand, basically, you guys were cornered. Then he pondered, now I can understand why you decided to kill Leonora in that situation. First of all, from your perspective, you are being forced to do increasingly impossible tasks. Midu spoke up, we were quite confused at the time, that's why Shinju-kun decided to take all the blame on himself. Narumi continued, and some of the classmates are still misunderstanding Shinju-kun's intentions. Rina, her voice still resentful, I still think the reason he did it wasn't simply because we're his classmates. Kai, while eating dried meat, said, Nagase is right, simply put, if I let her live, it would be troublesome, so I killed her. Narumi smiled, you're stubborn, really, Rina. She turned away, appearing sharp, no matter what he explains, I'm the one who decides whether or not to believe his words. Rina continued to ask, first, is it true that you're looking for a way for us to go home? She looked at Mayor, and furthermore, who's the cute girl behind you? Kai still shrugged and replied, I haven't found anything yet, and she voluntarily followed me. Mayor was startled, you're really mean. Midu spoke up, anyway, so we can catch the spies inside the Federation, we need your cooperation, Shinju, that's why, I suggest you join us on this journey. Heinrich seemed quite happy to agree, I don't mind either, although I can't report back to the Empire, well, I'll just forge some documents then. Then everyone turned their eyes to Rina, who seemed to be still very annoyed with Kai. She closed her eyes tightly, whatever, it doesn't change the fact that I hate him. Kai looked at everyone, anyway, our destination is the same, if you guys don't have a problem, I'm happy to go with you. The fire that everyone was using to keep warm was still burning large. People sat there, but there was a little silence. There was a voice calling Midu from behind, which made him pay attention. Kai asked, is it okay to tell him that? Midu said, you mean the incident related to Leonora's death? It's okay, Heinrich is a trustworthy person. Kai gave a warning. No matter how much you trust people, there are some things you shouldn't trust people with, but it doesn't change anything because you've already told him. Midu understood Kai's meaning, I know I will take responsibility, moreover, Heinrich already knew what was happening from the beginning. Kai asked, so there's no point in hiding it anymore, right? He thought to himself, he can share information and show trust like that, that's really Midu's style. After that, the delegation continued to walk for a few more days. Heinrich told everyone, now we have reached the border of the Federation. Sheena peeked her face out from the carriage, let's go to the town closest to the border. Kai realized something was unusual, it seems like there are some people here to greet us. An arrow was shot and stuck right in front of Midu, causing his horse to jump in fright. He held the reins tightly and looked over. The group had been surrounded by beast men, who were aiming their bows and weapons at them. Heinrich was a little worried, the soldiers quickly formed a defensive perimeter. A beast woman stepped forward with an authoritative voice, humans, what are you doing in our territory? The disparity in force between the two sides was extremely large at this moment. Midu stepped forward, spread his arms, and stated, we are not here to fight, we want to form an alliance with the Federation. The beast woman was a bit skeptical, alliance, the beast men were indignant, after all that you have done, you dare to say such a thing, those. The grey beast man pointed, the reason we are treated badly is because of you. Rina frowned, we don't know and we don't care, I guess that's what they mean. Narumi smiled wryly, please, don't say such things, okay. Sheena poked her head out and spoke, Rune, it's me. The beast woman princess jumped out of the carriage and stepped down. A voice from the crowd, Shinazuma. The princess said, these people rescued me. Rune seemed to hear nothing, motioned to everyone, and then shouted, return Shinazuma to us. Heinrich was confused, we want to do that too, at least, please listen to us. She brushed them aside, I don't need it, and then charged forward to attack. Seeing that things weren't going well, Heinrich gave the order, alright, counterattack, but don't kill them. The two groups clashed, the sounds of swords and blades clashing with each other. Kai turned to ask, can we clear up this misunderstanding, Sheena? The princess replied, once Rune is like this, she won't listen to anyone. She added, disable her, but don't kill her, her army is full of young, inexperienced people, if it were you, you could do it. With the green light, Kai said, you said it, right, Midu, it's time for you to shine. Although he was defending, hearing his teammate's voice, he replied, I understand. Then he swung his sword in a horizontal slash. With a single strike, the grey beastman was sent flying. Midu was surrounded, the beastmen attacked, but he dodged with agility. Then he raised his hand and tapped the pink beastman on the back of the neck. Seeing his teammates constantly defeated and knocked unconscious, the red beastman could only exclaim, what? Midu's eyes flashed with electric sparks. In a flash, he teleported behind and knocked the red beastman unconscious. He fell down like a log, with the drool still in the air before his head hit the ground. The remaining beastmen were a little scared and shouted, this bastard. Kai turned to call Kanzaki, she jumped back in surprise, what's up? Your target is the archers in the back, leave the front lines to Midu. Rin replied, understood. Then she immediately cast a magical chain, which flew towards the archers, all of them were controlled, they wondered what was going on, I can't move. The other beastmen on both sides rushed in, shouting, Shinazuma, we're here to rescue you. Kai called Mayor, the little girl raised the staff in her hand and replied, alright, alright. Then she began to cast a spell, spirits, stop them without hurting them. As soon as she finished speaking, the beastmen were immediately blown away by the wind. Nagami exclaimed, oh my god, it turns out she's a user of elemental magic like me. Kai turned to call Nagase. She was ready with a fireball in her hand, but the order she received was don't interfere. Hearing that, she frowned, fiercely shouted, "What, everyone is fighting, why am I the only one who can't?" Kai was fighting and explaining at the same time, "If they are attacked by your flames, they're dead for sure, or do you have confidence in controlling your magic and not killing them?" Hearing that, Rina withdrew her hand, "All right." Rune witnessed the battle in amazement, "No way, are humans this strong?" Heinrich kept trying to explain all the time, "We just want to come here to talk." Midu stepped forward, "We are not killing your soldiers, so can you put your sword away?" Without saying anything, she still continued to charge forward to attack. Midu reached out and held the sword, controlling her. The beast-woman's eyes widened in amazement, the sword was held tightly between his two fingers. Her arm trembled. A voice called from afar, "Rune." Sheena stepped forward to ask. She calmed down. The princess tried to reassure, "Please listen to these people." A moment later, in the middle of the forest, the voice of the beast people, "We are truly sorry." Rune and her beast people knelt down in front of the group at once. Midu was confused, hastily saying, "No, please look up." Rune kept bowing, "I didn't know everyone was her savior, I'm really sorry, I'll take this life to atone for my mistakes." Heinrich smiled, thinking about the relationship between the two peoples, "I understand your actions." She bowed until she bled, her eyes were a little confused. Kai, standing by the carriage, spoke up, "If you want to make a change, can you become our guide?" He looked at her and continued, "I'm talking about establishing a federation between the two peoples, so I want to meet the high-ranking leaders of the federation, and this is also what Sheena wants." The princess nodded, "Yes, I owe them, please treat them with courtesy." Rune agreed, "I understand, I will definitely take them to the capital." She shed tears, and Sheena-sama, "I'm glad you're okay." The princess smiled, "Well, I'm home." Afterwards, Midu and other liaisons were treated more respectfully. To establish an alliance, we need to negotiate with the federal parliament. The parliament has all the leaders of each beast-human faction, an organization that leads this country. And the parliament is located in the capital of the federation. Midu exclaimed, "So this is the capital of the federation." Narumi's eyes widened, "It's too big, isn't it?" Rune turned and said, "I'm sorry, but I can only take you here. Of course I still want to express my deep gratitude to you for saving Sheena-sama. But the people who decide the policies of this country are the members of the parliament." Midu replied, "It's okay, from now on this will be our job." The capital of the beast-human tribe, Grandanas of the Mainslia Beast-Human Alliance. Inside the city, the beast people were crowded and busy. Seeing the group, they constantly discussed their appearance. "Look, what are the humans plotting?" Despite that, with the guidance of Rune and the princess, the group still entered quietly. The crowd of beast people still buzzed, they stood by the road and silently observed with suspicious eyes. Midu also felt the slightly heavy atmosphere, unable to speak. Kai spoke up, "It seems they don't hate us as much as we thought. It feels like they're more afraid of us." Narumi laughed. "Yes, regardless of race, a normal person will feel fear when seeing the army of another country, right? I think that's a normal reaction." Heinrich whispered, "After all, everyone around here is just ordinary citizens. I think we will be hated more by the tribal leaders, those are the people we are about to meet." While everyone was talking, a loud call of the princess's name rang out, "Sheena." A beast-human man in a red robe rushed out, his face anxiously asking, "Are you okay, Sheena?" The princess replied, "I'm fine, father, I'm not even injured. Look, father." Rune next to her immediately knelt down to salute. He hugged his daughter tightly, sighing with emotion, "So I'm glad you're okay." She smiled, "Father, it hurts, you're using too much force." Quickly releasing his daughter, he waved his hand, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was a bit overwhelmed with emotion." Then he looked at the crowd of humans in front of him with a scrutinizing gaze and asked, "So those humans are the ones who saved you?" Sheena turned and replied, "Yes, so please treat them well, father." He laughed, "I understand, today I will allow these people to stay in my mansion." Then he happily introduced himself, "I am the leader of the Alto Cat tribe and Sheena's father." He continued, "Thank you for saving my daughter, I swear I will repay this life-saving grace." Heinrich also stepped up to introduce himself, "I am captain of the 8th Night Legion of the Holy Kingdom of Diagrest, Heinrich, Alto-sama, may I make a suggestion?" Alto raised his hand as a signal, "Of course, you may speak." After a while, everyone sat at a long table, with humans on one side and cat people on the other. Sheena stood beside her father. After presenting the basic content, Heinrich said, "That is our proposal as envoys of the Holy Diagrest Kingdom regarding an alliance between our two nations. Would you consider our offer?" Alto declared, "I must repay you, since you saved my daughter. I will of course agree. Indeed, the threat from the Demon Kingdom is increasing. Edgar, the leader of the werewolf tribe, spoke up, we have fought demons in small skirmishes before, but recently, they've been attacking more frequently. Camila, the chieftain of the bird tribe, interrupted, are you suggesting we should ally with humans just for that reason? That's absurd, have you forgotten what humans have done to us? Max, the leader of the fishmen tribe, slammed his hand on the table, saying, Camila is right, my father was captured by humans and died as a slave, that's not something easily forgotten, we are still grateful to you for saving and escorting Sheena back here, and we will give you a worthy reward. Niels, the leader of the dog tribe, added, but we still won't forget what happened in the past. His eyes held a hint of displeasure. Alto turned and looked at Niels, calling out to him. He continued, didn't humans discriminate against and expel us? That's not something we can easily overlook, is it? Now you want us to help them. Max and Camila echoed Niels' sentiments, agreeing with not accepting the help. While the beast men were murmuring, Heinrich's voice rang out, we shouldn't forget the past. He continued, but aren't we aiming for the same goal, which is to eliminate the demons? Max roared fiercely upon hearing this, how dare you, even if it comes to fighting demons, I won't cooperate with you. Edgar, looking towards the humans, intervened, wait, Max. He raised his hand, continuing, indeed, we've received information that you've turned the tide in the war against the demons, could you tell us what form of cooperation you're seeking from us? Hearing the question, Heinrich seemed to ponder for a moment. Midou immediately replied, we want to wipe out the entire demon kingdom and behead the demon lord. That answer made the beast men momentarily speechless. They didn't react for a moment. Edgar laughed loudly. Breaking the silent atmosphere, he looked at Midou with assessment, your eyes don't seem to lie, interesting. Camila wondered, what's wrong? Edgar continued, you see, at first I thought it was strange, if my information is correct, humans already have a great advantage. Edgar smiled, they don't seem like they're being forced or pressured to form an alliance with us. Midou appeared serious, we want to defeat the demon lord, and to achieve that goal, we need your help. Alto's voice cut through, catching Midou's attention, echoing what Edgar had said earlier. He continued, I want to help them eradicate the demons. At first, I was very suspicious, but I didn't think the boy would be so sincere. Another arm went up. Edgar chimed in, I agree as well, if the demons are making serious moves, the Federation won't be able to withstand them. His eyes were sharp, in the event that the Holy Kingdom is defeated by demons in the future, we will surely be next, so, we need to seize this opportunity to fight alongside humans. The members of the party were all overjoyed upon hearing this. However, Camila had a slight reaction. I understand your point, but I still won't accept, she said, eyeing them suspiciously, you never know when humans will stab you in the back. Max also spoke up, no matter the situation, I will not cooperate with those I cannot trust. Niels' opinion was similar, and mine as well, this alliance might be a plot to make us sacrifices or bait, right? At this moment, Sheena, standing next to her father, looked over and said, Niels-sama, you've somehow changed. She added, you used to be very supportive of humans. Niels replied, my thoughts have changed after living to this age. Alto raised his hand thoughtfully, so, we have many people opposing this proposal now. Edgar added, it's not wise to decide right away, it's best we take some time to think, I also want to hear more about their proposal, let's have them stay in our territory for a while. Alto laughed and agreed, let us take care of their lodging and food, they are the saviors of my daughter's life. Camila haughtily said, whatever, I haven't changed my mind, Max added, she's right, I don't accept it either. Kai was sitting there silently, observing with his blood-red eyes. His eyes widened, revealing a deadly, blazing red color. He was trying to see through Camila's heart and evaluate Niels, who had once supported humans.